Stand by, folks.
I'd like to thank everybody for being here this morning. My name is Paul Blackman. I'm the Highlands County Sheriff. I'm going to make some brief introductions and then we'll get on with our press conference. Standing immediately to my right is Police Chief Carl Hoagland from Sebring Police Department. Next to him, to his right, is the Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody. Next to Ms. Moody is the State Attorney for the 10th Judicial Circuit, Brian Haas. We have Mayor John Shoup standing in the back from the City of Sebring. FDLE Special Agent in Charge, Shane Pollard, here with us this morning. And we have Mark Bayshore, the Highlands County Public Safety Director. And Austin Maddox, a captain with the Sebring Fire Department. And lastly, we have Commissioner and County Commission Chairman Jim Brooks with us here. Please understand that it is our goal to be as transparent as possible regarding this incident with the media and concerned citizens. However, some of your questions will not be answered as this investigation is still in its most infant stages. So to protect the integrity of the investigation, we ask for your cooperation and patience. And note we will open the floor to questions at the end of the press conference. We would like to recognize the representatives from SunTrust Bank as they wanted to be here for the press conference this morning. However, they wanted to spend additional time with the family members of those who were tragically taken during this incident. As the sheriff, I would like to take this opportunity to thank members of the Highlands County Sheriff's Office, particularly our dispatchers, our SWAT team, our crisis negotiation team, the Highlands County Fire and EMS, Sebring Police Department, Sebring Fire, FDLE, FBI, all for working in concert and working together to put their lives on line for the protection of the citizens that we serve. In closing, and most importantly, we will continue to pray for the families who lost loved ones during this tragic event, as well as our community that we continue to serve. I'll introduce you now to Chief Hoagland from Sebring Police Department.
Thank you, Sheriff. Yesterday, our community suffered a tremendous loss at the hands of a heinous criminal. Zephan Allen Zaver knowingly and intentionally took the lives of 5 of our fellow community members, our sisters, our mothers, our daughters, and our co-workers. Perhaps most unfortunate is that now we refer to them as victims of a senseless crime. While in contact with the victims' families, several have requested that we not release their information in accordance with Marsy's Law. I'm going to honor their requests. We've had additional requests that the victims be identified from other families, and I'm going to honor those requests as well, to honor their loved ones' memories, to honor our citizens, and to honor the people who call Sebring home. Miss Cynthia Watson was one of the people in the bank who senselessly lost her life yesterday as a result of the actions of a criminal. Miss Marisol Lopez was another victim of a crime here in Sebring. The incident began yesterday at approximately 12:30 when 21-year-old Zephan Zaver entered the SunTrust Bank with a gun. He immediately contacted bank employees and a bank customer and overtook the bank by force. He then shot everyone in the bank. After shooting them, he called 911. This occurred at approximately 12:36. He told dispatchers that he had killed 5 people in the bank. The wherewithal and the thoughts and the acts of our dispatchers were to maintain telephone contact with him until responding officers could arrive. Units from the Highlands County Sheriff's Office responded and arrived at approximately 12:40, with officers of the Sebring Police Department arriving 2 minutes thereafter. These units maintained tactical observation and control of the scene until supporting and additional units could arrive. Crisis negotiators also arrived on scene and established contact with Mr. Zaver. At 12:44, a SWAT call out was done in hopes that we could assume tactical responsibility of the scene. During crisis negotiations with Mr. Zaver, it appeared he was not going to allow officers of my agency and the sheriff's office access to the victims in the bank. At that action, I requested the sheriff's office SWAT team make a tactical entry into the bank. This was accomplished at 1:54 p.m. Upon entering and securing the scene, these tactical units took Zephan Zaver into custody at approximately 2:28 p.m. and they immediately began coordinating victim assessments. Unfortunately, all victims had succumbed to their injuries inside the bank. As the sheriff mentioned, this is an ongoing criminal investigation, and it is an active crime scene as we speak. Zephan Zaver has formally been charged with 5 counts of murder in the first degree. I cannot state how much I appreciate the assistance of our local partners, including the Sheriff's Office, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the FBI, the Attorney General's Office, and the coordination and collaboration of SunTrust personnel, staff, and leadership. SunTrust has explained and wants you to know that their leadership is here. They are on site in Sebring. They are meeting with employees of the bank, they're providing support to families of the victims, and they are cooperating fully in our investigation. We now begin the healing process. We attempt to make sense of a senseless act. We attempt to mourn the loss of our peers, our neighbors, our mothers and daughters. It's a time for us to come together. It's a time for us to heal. And it's an opportunity for us to look back, reflect, and build strength based upon a senseless act. Thank you. I'll turn the floor over to Ms. General Moody.
It is unfortunate that nearly just over 2 weeks in a new administration, a community, one as small as Sebring, just over 10,000 people, has to deal with a tragic situation and a loss of their own. At times like this, when you have consummate professionals in law enforcement trying to preserve the integrity of an investigation and a prosecution, you have communities in chaos and heartbreak and families of victims trying to determine what their next step is going to be. As soon as we heard of this information, my team and I came down here. We've been on site meeting with victims' families, providing them assistance, knowing that we are here for them both in a support role to discuss steps going forward and providing expenses for grief counseling, loss of life expenses, and other things that they should not even have to think about at a time like this. I commend the actions of the Chief of Police, the Sheriff, FDLE. Please know that the law enforcement agencies have worked together in a cooperative manner to ensure that they can move forward successfully in the legal system. We stand ready to assist them. We stand ready to assist the victims. And we have been meeting with SunTrust representatives. Dozens are here from around the nation so that they can help their corporate family heal. Going forward, this will not be a quick process. I can tell you as a former prosecutor and judge, successfully moving forward to ensuring that someone responsible for such a heinous act takes cooperation by law enforcement, skilled prosecutors, and patience by a community that wants justice. We are with you. We will be with you throughout this process and with law enforcement.
Good morning. As state attorney, it's my responsibility to prosecute this case, and that we will do. We have two priorities. One, to build the best case possible to ensure prosecution that ends in a successful result, while seeking everything that we can, the maximum allowed by law. The second priority is to be there for the families of the victims. They are hurting today in an unbelievable way, and we want to be there for them to make sure that with the terrible thing that they've been through, that this next step, the criminal justice process, goes as smoothly as possible. I'll be convening a grand jury in the next couple of weeks, where I'll seek indictments for first-degree murder, and I'll certainly be meeting with the families of the victims and going over all of these steps with them in detail. This community is hurting unbelievably. Any community that would have a case like this happen with 5 murders would be so difficult. But a community the size of Sebring is just unbelievable. But if there is a place that can make it through this, it's Sebring and it's Highlands County, and we will. Thank you.
Good morning. This is truly an unusual event for our community, something we thought we couldn't happen. Yesterday our world was rocked by something that we couldn't even fathom here. Our hearts go out to the individuals that lost their lives, to their families, to friends and coworkers. They're part of our community, and so we see them on a daily basis, and you can't imagine the pain and suffering that this entire community is going through. We have a wonderful community here, and this kind of senseless cowardice act is just something that's not even in our vocabulary. We've been fortunate that hundreds of people, thousands of people throughout the world have actually touched our hearts and offered prayers and condolences and guidance to help us get through this. I do want to just give special thanks to our Chief Hogan and the Sebring Police Department, with Paul Blackman and the Highlands County Sheriff's Department, our EMS, our fire departments, all our responders, everybody that was involved with this. It was about a 2-minute response time once the call came in, and they have taken this to heart. We know people in it. They're related to our staff, so it is really a sad event from that standpoint. These individuals and first responders, they put themselves in harm's way all the time, something we can't as a citizen realize until we see something like this, and they do it without even questioning to it. We have not changed here, but our world has. We need to continue living our lives as freely as we have in the past, with the love and effort that our community goes. Our community is a very caring and giving community. It gives back as much as we give to it. We'll walk through this together. This event will pass, but unfortunately, it'll never be forgotten. It is now part of our history, and we need to remember from years to come. None of us are untouched by what has happened. We will all grieve in our own way. We need you, everyone out there, to hug your family, your friends, co-workers, anywhere you go, is to give them the peace of mind. We need to continue to pray for those that are no longer with us, that suffered such an unfortunate event, and especially their families and what they're going through in that. With this together, we will all walk through this in a peaceful manner. Thank you.
We'll now open the floor for questions, and please bear in mind this is a very active investigation. It's an active crime scene. I'll attempt to answer any questions I can. There will be questions we will not be able to answer. It's not with the goal of hiding anything, obviously. Transparency is something that we embrace. We have to ensure the successful prosecution of this criminal act, hold this person accountable for the tragedies that he has committed. Sir?
Chief, I'm just wondering if you may not be able to say, but have investigators learned anything about his motive, what his thinking was? And even if you can't tell us what it was, can you tell us if at least they've heard anything on what he was thinking?
We have no information as to this time as to what his true motive may have been. We believe that it is a random act. We do not believe anybody was specifically targeted, but we are still trying to establish obviously what has occurred, the gravity and the nature of why it has occurred, and try to put things in perspective that we can understand.
There were no charges for bank robbery or attempted bank robbery. Did he go in there attempting to rob this bank or just simply to kill?
We have no information right now that there was any bank robbery, and I cannot elaborate anymore because I don't know what his true intent was beyond the acts that have been committed.
The two people that you named, were they both bank employees?
One was a bank customer, one was a bank employee. The bank customer was Miss Cynthia Watson. The bank employee was with Marisol Lopez.
Were they all women who were killed?
Yes.
Chief, talk to us about the process. Why did you call the SWAT team in? How did you make that decision?
When the crisis negotiations team established contact with him, there was no compromise on his part. Our primary goal was to attempt rescue and provide victim care, and he was not willing to afford us that opportunity. So in an attempt to make that opportunity happen, we conducted a tactical entry into the bank.
At that point, did you think the victims were still alive? At that point, were you under the assumption the victims may still be alive?
We hoped the victims were alive.
Were the other 3 employees, the other 3 people that were killed?
Yes, the other 3 were employees.
Were all 5 female? Any idea how long this guy was planning this attack?
Okay. First, yes, all 5 were female. We have no background information as to whether or not this was a planned attack.
Banks
Do you
often.
seek the death penalty?
I would defer to counsel for that. As mentioned by the state attorney, Mr. Haas, we will seek the highest penalty possible to hold this person accountable for their actions.
All right, one more question, guys. Last question.
Okay,
Did he know
banks
that
have security systems. Have you seen the video that happened, and have you reviewed it? And can you describe what you see? Is it cold and calculating? Is there a video of horror that took place?
There is surveillance video that has been obtained. It is being reviewed by investigators, and I do not know the specific content of that to answer your question more directly. Last question, ma'am.
Did he know any of the victims?
We have no known connections to the suspect or any of the victims at this time.
Or the bank?
Aside from perhaps driving by and seeing it was a bank, we have no known motive that he's targeted this bank for any particular reason or any particular motive. Thank you.
Chief, his ex-girlfriend says he recently purchased a gun. Do you know if that's true?
We could